What's up, y'all? I'm just gonna quickly run you through this gravel bike. It's my main bike. I ride it approximately, I ride this exact bike about 100 miles a week. I do everything from gravel to just my all-road rides, especially when it's kind of bad outside. I love it. I spend a lot of time on it, and I do gravel group rides with it. And I think a lot of people are maybe using a gravel bike as their main bike, maybe wondering which one they should get. So this video is for you. I'm going to kind of run you through why I have this bike, what I like about it, what I'm not super happy with about it, because there are some things I don't love about it. But overall, if there was anything that I didn't love about it, I would have changed it by now. If it was a big enough issue. So as it sits, it's great. I use this thing all the time. I put a lot of miles into it. It's robust. It's sturdy. This thing can do anything. I ride this on single track mountain bike trails. I do 40-mile, just straight up road routes on it. And it does everything flawlessly. It could be more robust on the single track, and it could be more zippy on the road routes, but it does it all, and it does it all great. I bought this frame, I bought the whole bike in 2021 at the height kind of the difficulty of getting bikes US wide, and so my options were limited. I still like the bike a lot. If it was today and the availability of bikes are what they are now, there is a chance I would have kind of picked something different out. Maybe, a Crust Bambora or something from All City or Shirley or something like that. But as a generality, I've been pretty happy with it. So it's the frame set is a 9er RLT 9 steel. It's a size 58, and I'm 6'2", and I'm about 6'2.5". Inseam from the ground to seat height is about 35.5, and it fits me pretty good. I don't really have any major complaints. I have a 90 mil stem on it right now, and I went out as far out as 110 mils, which is not that long, but was too long for me with the current bars that I have on it. So as I'm running it, it fits pretty good. If I was doing a new bike, I probably would go to a shop and actually get it fitted on the front end and then get to ride it around and make sure that the reach is correct. I've always felt like the reaches are just a little bit too long on this bike. But yeah, so it's a 9er RLT. It's kind of their gravel bike, and it's the steel version. And I'm kind of, if whatever I was on, it would be steel regardless. I think this bike takes itself a little more seriously with the tapered head tube and just the branding and everything, but it's a great bike. It's 853 Reynolds. So I've been riding it for more than a year. I've put a lot of miles into it. It's pretty good. I don't have any major complaints. The bottom bracket is it is a press fit. It would be nice to have a threaded bottom bracket, in my opinion. It's been relatively okay, but sometimes it's just finicky, like press fits are. So it's been pretty good. It's mostly stock. I have a race face 90 mil stem, which is a little shorter than what usually comes. My saddle is it's a Cell Italia SLR Superflow, and I mostly picked this out just because it's compact. It's a smaller, lighter saddle. It has a big cutout, and it's just comfortable. I like the idea of a Brooks saddle, but it's not that practical to me to have this big, heavy leather saddle. Even if it's comfortable, this is comfortable too, and it's small and it's light. So it's been really good. I like it a lot. You kind of have to adjust to it like any kind of saddle, but so far no complaints really. I run it kind of at a downward slope, or a downward angle, which is more comfortable for me. So I'm running a Garmin 530. It's great. I love it. If I have any complaint, it's that there is USB Type B charging, which just you kind of worry about the longevity of it, you know. But there's a new one out as of right now, which is a Garmin 540, and that has USB-C charging. It's $50 more than what this one was when I bought it. If I was buying a new computer right now, I would definitely get the 540. I like having the buttons. This bike is dirty right now because I was riding in the rain this whole last week, and this is great in the rain because there's no touch screen. The rain doesn't interact with that, and you have buttons, and those always work the same with gloves or in the rain or anything. So my recommendation is 540. That's probably what I'll get if this ever breaks, and for whatever reason they won't warranty it. I have a SRAM Apex drivetrain. That's what came on its stock. It's been pretty good. I like it well enough to just kind of run it into the ground, but when it comes time to change out the cassette, I may end up going with a GRX. I might go back to Shimano. If I stay in SRAM, I'd probably go SRAM Rival. Pretty happy with it overall. It's been kind of finicky. I feel like sometimes I have to change the rear derailleur. There's no front derailleur, and it's the front rear. You know, it's mostly pretty good. I feel like it sometimes gets finicky, and I've had to mess with the rear derailleur more than I really want to. But outside of that, I love the way it shifts. I love the one press to go to a harder gear, and then the further in press to go to a easier gear. Super intuitive, really nice. I like it pretty well. The wheels that I have on here, I think are maybe a controversial pick. I've seen a lot of online discussion about Hunt. These are the Hunt, I think they're the 35 wide gravel set. They're gravel specific. Hookless. I love them. I think I would buy these again. These are, if there's anything on my bike that I feel like that I really would buy again on any bike, it's the Hunt wheels are great, and the saddle is great. Everything else is kind of just what I have right now, and I would potentially consider changing it, bike computer included, to go to a 540. So I've heard a lot of people kind of talk about the Hunt wheels being just rebranded Chinese wheels, and that you're paying for a lot of marketing. And I think that's to a degree true. I think you could probably get a better deal by going straight Chinese direct, and you might get something that's not Chinese by going to a company that's more expensive, like Zip. But I personally don't feel bothered by this compromise, because the thing that makes me feel sketched out by buying just straight up Chinese wheels is the customer service there, and is it fast, and is it good? With Hunt, I could pay $40 extra, and if anything happens to either of these wheels, they will just give me new wheels. And that's great to know. So paying a little extra for marketing, I think, is, in this case, great. I use this bike for everything. I live in Northwest Arkansas. I live in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And I take this thing on single track sometimes. Sometimes I just plan Garmin routes and I don't know where it's going to take me, and I end up on single track. And it's nice to know that if you hit your carbon wheel onto a rock, that the company that makes this has a warranty that you can buy into for an extra $40, that they'll just send you new wheels, and that they will respond to you fast. And so I think it's super worth it. I love them. They're hookless. I've had no problems with hookless. I know a lot of people complain about them, but the tires that I have on the wheels are actually kind of an interesting pick for this year. I changed these out this spring. These are Panaracer Gravel King slicks, 38 millimeters. I like them a lot. I've heard a lot of negative things online. They seated perfectly. They've been bomb-proof. I've taken them on single track, had no problems at all. I really like them. They roll fast. even though they're 38 mils, I feel like that on the hookless 25 mil bed of the Hunt wheel, that the way that the sidewall sits, that they probably measure more about like 40 to 41 mil. So pretty good width. I think it's a pretty versatile width. And they've been great. I take them on gravel, and I do a lot of just kind of all-road stuff. So from the perspective of all-road, really no complaints there. It's a fast wheel. It makes the bike feel like that it's not like you're riding a mountain bike when you go just do a road route, if you're just doing maintenance miles or that kind of thing. So I like them a lot. Long term, I don't know if I probably would go back to something like a Terravale Washburn with a center slick and some tread on the outside, or like a Specialized Pathfinder Pro, similar kind of thing. The format of a center slick with a treaded outer area, if it's done well. I've never ridden a tire like that. I've ridden either just straight up knobby tires or straight up slick tires like these. But I think that format of the center slick with the knobbier outside is pretty promising, especially for the type of riding I do. So I ride this bike on, I ride it on my gravel group rides that I do in Fayetteville, the Ozark gravel cyclists. And for the riding that I think you're doing most group rides, there's going to be a good amount of pavement. You're not going to be doing anything crazy. It's not bike packing. If you choose your lines carefully, you don't need the most puncture resistant tire in the world. And so I kind of think these do great. I could see it being nice to have something that bites into the gravel a little bit more. But for right now, I'm going to ride them for a while. If nothing else, they're great for like rainy day rides, all road, kind of tarmac oriented stuff, but where you want to feel a little bit more confident on the bike in these bad conditions. So pretty happy there. And that's basically, I think that's pretty much it. I have actually, there is a couple more things. So I have lights, and I have a saddlebag. And this is a point of contention for me. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm happy enough to keep using these, but my recommendation would be to not buy these. This is a Bontrager. I don't know exactly what lights they are, but the front, they came in a set, and I needed them because I was doing group rides, and it became to the point where I was like, I can't do the ride today if I don't have lights. So I had to go to a local bike shop and buy them. And this is what they have. And it's more than 1,000, it's more than 1,000 lume in the front, and it's a really bright in the back. They're fine. They also charge with USB Type B. I think this is 2023. I don't see why we would be making and buying purchases with USB Type B if you have the ability to shop online and find stuff that has USB Type C, but it's just where it's at, and it's fine. The front one, I just did some rainy rides this week, and now this light is turning on randomly, so they're fine. I wouldn't buy these lights again. I probably would shop them around, try to find something cheaper, and with more modern features that has better charging ports, and etc. It'd be nice if it came with a stock kind of attachment to just go under your Garmin, but it doesn't. So yeah, they're fine. They've worked good. They're bright. They keep you safe. I think in the future I would buy. If I hadn't had to buy them to go on a ride that day, I wouldn't have bought these. I would have shopped around. I would have found something different. That brings me to another thing that's on the bike, which is this saddlebag. This is Bontrager. It's okay. It's good. It fits everything I need. I have a spare. I'm running these tubeless. These tires are tubeless, but sometimes you can get into a situation where you just want to throw a tube in instead of trying to patch it and get it back sealed. So I have a tube in here. I have your tire levers, your basic multi-tool. I have all that kind of stuff. It all fits in there. It's great in terms of the size and the compromise you have on that. But the way that it attaches on here, the Bontrager bag, I've been on 2 different gravel rides, if not 3, where this thing just fell off because it slides on. I think it's made for road bikes, and so would not recommend riding this on gravel unless you do something like I have here. I have a paracord just tied around so that it cannot slide off. And I think that if you're going to run this bag, you've got to do that because you will just lose this bag. I had to go drive around and look at it for it in the middle of the night because it's pretty expensive between the bag and all the stuff that's in it. So it's like $100, $200. You know, I didn't want to lose that. So this thing will fall off. I don't recommend this bag at all. The bag on the top tube is a 9er bag. It's good. You know, it's a little bento box bag. It holds all the stuff you want in there, and it's pretty good. It gets a little floppy. I feel like it's sitting on this side. Same thing with this bag. It gets a little floppy sometimes. I don't really love that, but it's functional. It works, and you can have your snacks and your gels or whatever, which I like to have on a ride. Sometimes you get back from work and you're just going on your ride right away and you don't have time for dinner, so it's nice to have a gel so you can kind of fuel up as you ride out of the house. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. There are things I want to change. I love the frame. It's a Reynolds 853. It's heavy. I do group rides. This thing makes me slower. I'm aware of that. I like riding steel. I like the way it feels. I just like the aesthetic of it, so it's a compromise I'm willing to make. I would guess this bike is probably like 23, 24 pounds. As it's, well, with all the stuff on it, it might be, especially with bottles, might be like 25, 26. So it's definitely not a light bike. But overall, pretty happy with it. I guess the point of this video being that I'm just kind of running you through my current gravel bike. You know, it's a practical build. It's what I have, and I'm going to keep riding it. If I was building something from scratch as of today, I think I'd be pretty tempted to go with a lot of different stuff. I'd probably be tempted to go with a crust, you know, frame. And I think I'd be tempted to keep the same wheels and saddle, but then go with a Shimano drivetrain, a GRX. And I'd probably be tempted to avoid the Bontrager pieces that I have on here. I have a few, and I'm not huge into them. And that's really about it. I mean, you can see I have the camo tape on here. That's just fun, so that doesn't matter. But yeah, I like it. If you're looking into a 9er RLT steel and you're kind of wondering if it's a good idea to buy it or not, I think it is. I think it's a steel bike that takes itself seriously. It's, you know, a lot of steel bikes have kind of like a bit of sarcasm to them, and I appreciate that. Like, that's kind of what I like about the Crust and the All City, is they seem a little more hip. This thing takes itself pretty seriously, and that's fine. I like it. It's good. It's a really good frame, and you know, it's overall, it has good standards on it in terms of, like, you know, what it's compatible with. So overall, no complaint. It does have a carbon fork, and I was a little nervous about having a carbon fork because, you know, it's the whole point of having a steel frame is to avoid kind of carbon parts to some people. To me, it's not. I have carbon wheels. I have a carbon fork. I like carbon fiber. I don't have a problem with having carbon fiber, and the carbon fork has been to me, it's just as robust as the steel frame. I don't think that if you don't bash your bike into something, I don't think it's really a huge deal. I don't think you're gonna break this fork. I don't think that it's like gonna fail for any reason. So it's been good. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions about it. If you're wondering about sizing, I debated sizing a lot. As a 6'2" person, I was really tempted to go with the bigger size. I'm happy I went with the smaller size. I would potentially even go with one size smaller, like potentially. I like a smaller, more tucked feeling bike, so If you're having if you're questioning what size you should be in, or if you're wondering if you have an alternative bike that you have in mind and you're like, should I get this one or this one? Now that bikes are more available, let me know and I'll kind of give you my advice on why you would go one route or the other from my experience with this one specifically. And other than that, that's pretty much all I got.